Tonight, I lose my mind, Ward talks about some things, and Maria says stuff.
Hello, and welcome to tonight's show. Tonight, we will be taking a trip to Africa, to the nation of Senegal. There, we will be discussing the book So Long a Letter by Marie Maba.
Ba had strong political views, especially in issues such as mistreatment of women in Senegalese society and educational opportunities for young girls in this society as well. And I think this is a direct correlation, or this has a direct correlation with her upbringing. I mean, she was raised by her grandparents who followed strict Muslim views and rather had traditional ideas. And it was actually her father who stepped in and said, no, I want my daughter to be educated. I want her to continue her education. So I think that upbringing from her grandparents motivated her later on in her life to say, no, this young girl should have the opportunity to be educated. So I think her upbringing had a direct correlation and influence in some of her political ideas or beliefs.
Now, Senegal is an absolutely stunning nation in Western Africa. It's nestled between two other African countries, Guinea-Bissau and Mauritania. And while the country is only the size of the American state South Dakota, it has many different defining features, both man-made and natural, which helps punctuate the beauty of the country. To start with, the name Senegal comes from the Senegal River, which spans over 1,000 miles, and it's absolutely beautiful. It helps, not only is it beautiful, but it helps provide the citizens with water, obviously, and irrigation for food, as well as transport. People use boats to travel up and down the river. Now, to the south, it lies the Gambia River, which only spans about 700 miles. And while it doesn't span the entire nation like the Senegal River does, it does branch into long, smaller rivers, which again help provide sustenance and add to the beauty of the country. Now, Senegal also has a border with the Atlantic Ocean, which provides a border with many beautiful beaches. It's one of the top tourist attractions for the country, and it helps provide a sense of culture for the tourists who go there. And now one of the main man-made defining features is called the African Renaissance Monument. And it was currently built outside the country, outside the capital of Dakar. Now the monument stands at 160 feet and depicts a man, a woman, and a child emerging from a volcano and looking into the distance for a brighter tomorrow. Currently, it is the tallest statue in Africa, and it was built and it commemorates a new age for the African continent.
So Long a Letter was arguably Maria Maba's best work of art. It received widespread acclaim and even received the Noma Award for being published in Africa. And has since been translated into several different languages. From this novel, we can vividly read her passion for the subject of women's rights, tackling subjects such as polygamy, traditions, lack of education for women, and essentially how to change one's culture and how to progress. Yet she does this in a very unique way through the use of letters from the narrator to the narrator's lifelong friend, who has since left the culture and moved to the United States. Through the story, we see several different types of women. And if we put them on a scale, we can almost see how at one end of the scale we have traditional. And through each woman throughout the story, we can see more modern and more modern. And this in itself is a very unique technique that Maria Maba uses in So Long a Letter.
Now, in the rural countryside of Senegal as well, there's obviously that massive Islamic presence, which mirrors almost the entire country. Now, since Islam holds the majority religion, and the Christian population of Senegal is very minor, polygamy is rampant throughout the country. Now, polygamy has been a tradition in Senegal ever since Islam became the majority religion, since the country was Islamified in the 7th century BC. Now, during that time, polygamy was considered normal, and as a result, it became entrenched in the culture of Senegal. Now, in the modern day, men who have many wives will defend their polygamous practices by claiming that they are just following the tradition from that time period. Others still will use the Quran, and more will even use biblical figures such as Abraham, Jacob, and David. However, most of the men who follow polygamy also happen to be Muslim, and as a result, they will claim that in the Quran, Muhammad had many wives, and therefore, it is completely normal. Now, outside the urban, more westernized cities such as the capital of Dakar, Batam, and Saint Louis, where things are more westernized and gender roles aren't as heavily enforced, in the rural countryside, gender roles are very heavily enforced due to the strong Islamic presence in those areas. Now, women will be tasked to, menial household chores, cleaning, taking care of the children, cooking the meals, making sure everything's running in the household, while the men will be out taking care of the animals, harvesting the crops, planting the crops, and working the fields in general. Now, the typical food that a Senegalese family will eat is normally consisting of just rice cooked with sausages, maybe some vegetables within that meal. Now, they do have a very staple food, it's very cultural, and it comes from the French. It's called chef bourguignon, which is fish that has been served with sauces and rice.